out of here, bro. But if you're not, you're not going to realize it's a mark because they're going to make it look normal. Yeah. Obviously, they're doing it now. It's going to look normal. And if you don't, if your eyes aren't open, you'll take it because it's
because listen, they're not going to come up to you and say, "This is the mark of the beast. You must take it." And this is the problem with thinking of Christians. They haven't been watching, and the watchmen, like myself, like you are, we've been sounding the trumpet for the past at least 5 years, if not 10. Couldn't be 10 for you because you're not old enough, okay? Mm-hmm. But you have been sounding the trumpet since you were in your 20s. You've known about a lot of this stuff, right?
Yeah, I actually didn't think they were going to do it this way. This way is smarter. There's no collapse. It just transfers.
Right. Right.
And then they make new institutions. If you go on their website right now, they've made 9 new institutions from the Federal Reserve. Basically, these credit markets and bond markets and paper funds. They call them commercial paper markets. They made all these funds in March 7, 2020, March 11, 2020. You can literally explain what each one does. They literally are designing literally in March. They opened all these new institutions to prop up, to hold it together while they're making the changes.
You do realize that this is how they operate all the time, is that while we're busy with something else, they always do something really nefarious behind the scenes.
Well, I told everybody, but when they do this full digital thing, you might still vote for your presidents, you might still vote for your congressmen, and you'll still have the same senses that we had before. But it's actually genius because there is no government. They're the government. Because the government won't even have to borrow money from them to pay. Like, you know how like before, like in 2008, the government had to go to them and say, oh, we need help. Right. And then they gave them the money, and then everybody got mad because they bailed out the banks.
Right.
But the government won't be needed for that anymore. The Federal Reserve will just lend directly to them and you as an individual when you lose your job and need a stimulus package.
Right.
And it will seem good in the beginning, but then there'll be stipulations later.
Right.
As technology.
They'll literally be hell to pay. Yes.
Well, like they said, they even say in their video, with technology in the last 10 years, you can use your smartphone and stuff like that. So in the beginning, you'll use your smartphone like Apple Pay. It's not going to be some, oh my God, they're putting a chip in me or anything stupid like that. But at some point, technology will continue further like it is.
Well, okay. Here's the thing that people don't understand. They've confused us with the idea of the chip. We are getting a chip put in us, but it's not a chip in the way that they think.
Correct.
And so the whole digital authentication mechanism is in the vaccine that's coming. Right. It's in it. And so that's the digital ID component. That's the chip component. Look, most people don't understand that when you do voice to text on a phone, the function doesn't happen on the phone.
No, it doesn't.
It happens on servers somewhere else.
Right. It comes back.
But it's transparent to you.
Right.
It happens instantly while you're talking.
Right.
And so people don't understand when they say, the chip's going to have all your information. No, it doesn't have any information. The chip has the identification mechanism, and associated with that digital ID and the encryption is how it connects to the rest of the services, and that's how everything is transacted. This is why they don't understand, because they don't understand how technology works. They literally think that your phone does all this stuff, and it doesn't.
Right, and they've literally got people. Like I said, they're not going to force you to convert right away. It even says it. It's a choice. You do not have to convert, but they're going to make you suffer monetarily. But they're not going to take your money, and they're not going to come kick in your door and make you take a vaccine. They're not going to make you do anything. But they're going to make it so that you can't function in society. Well, you can, but you won't have the purchasing power as your neighbor. So the neighbor will look like he's getting richer, and in theory, kind of it looks like he is. You are getting poorer as an individual because you just won't go with the flow. I mean, they're basically telling you that the new electronic money will be worth more than greenbacks, as they call them. Even though, like I said, I know everybody's going to say, well, Dave, we've been using electronic currency forever. They wire money all the time. You never see it. There's more digital numbers than there is paper money, which I understand. But the reality, though, is there's still paper money. You have to get rid of the paper money.
Right.
You have to. Because that's why they can't go they can't go zero, because like this lady explained, it's 0.01. You can't go any lower than that because there's always the piece of paper. There's a tangible thing, like a physical thing you can touch. So you can't make it zero.
Right.
The only way you can make something negative something is if it's manipulated electronically, she was saying. If you hold up a piece of paper, you can't say that there's zero of these. You can't make it negative. You can make this piece of paper worth less than it was, but you can't make it negative. And that's why they've been trying to do that. If you notice, they keep lowering the basis points, and we're pretty much almost at zero, or we might be at zero, but we're not negative. And that's the goal. Electronic money will be able to be negative so they can manipulate everybody to not have wealth. You don't do what we say, we won't take your money, but we'll make your money invaluable as an individual.
Right.
That's what we'll lead to. It won't look like that in the beginning. It's going to look like a good time. It will look
that's why, dude, the vaccine is the mark. And I had commenters say, well, because I went live the other night and I texted you. I don't know if you got the text, and I asked if you were around.
I was sleeping. It was late.
Oh, okay. It was like 11 o'clock at night. So I when I found out what's really happening with the vaccine, I know more information now. It's the mark, dude. When they give us the vaccine, are they going to say you can't buy or trade or sell? No, it's the mark, because it's the mechanism that they're going to use to implement the mark to control you.
Correct. I mean, I get it.
The mark is they're going to inject this technology into you. You're now marked. Okay. Right. Now they haven't yet instigated the no buying or selling yet.
Yeah. Because right.
But the mechanism's there.
Right. Well, what will happen is they'll let people like you and me refuse right now, and we'll continue our lives and things will seem normal.
Yes.
And then what will happen is, let's say 80% of the population already got it, and life continues on. COVID's over. We got a new digital dollar. Life seems good next year, and things settle down. And out of nowhere one day, in an instant, they'll go, by such and such date, if you don't have the mark or this, whatever they call it at that point, under this new system by 2024, you can't. I'm not saying that's exactly how it's going to go, but that makes sense. Right. So then the other people will be like, oh, I already got mine. We're good.
Do you know what I'm going to show tomorrow when we have this talk? I'm going to show you. Remember the 2017 solar eclipse?
Right, I remember.
Okay, so here's a screen image. I'm going to put it on here. A lot of people they may or may not know about this. Okay?
Have you read how certain local municipalities and cities in the Midwest, and this is like mainstream media, this isn't just YouTube either, they're making their own local currencies just in case?
What do you mean?
There's communities, like legit small cities, and their county governments are saying that we need to make a currency to distribute amongst our local people to keep some kind of form of regular life.
Oh.
Because what will happen is some communities will get pissed off and say, I don't want a digital dollar. They will. Right. Oh, that's dumb. But the problem is you will still become poor, because you won't be part of their system. So you'll only be able to communicate amongst the people that accept your local currency, if that's what your community decides to do. Does that make sense?
You'll still be able, as a community, to have a halfway livable life.
Yeah,
that's why.
Well, this one woman was saying that's why she believed. Well, she calls it the pandemic, but she also says pandemic because she has to be politically correct. But the people, she was even saying that's why they don't want us to have community. If you have community, this doesn't work. You'll get pushback. You'll have communities that say, well, I don't need your digital dollar.
Yeah, I mean, but that's how you'll survive. Part of that is having a family, your actual family in your home.
Right, but she also said, but that's why she believes that they're making it so there is nobody sitting around talking about this, or your local county council was more concerned about putting a mask on.
All of this, you need to talk about. We should have went live now. All of this needs to be talked about tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, right. But everybody's going to tell you, because they say the same thing to me today. Well, Dave, come on, man. The monetary system is changing, blah blah. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Nobody's comprehending what they're actually saying. It's full manipulation of your life every day if you use the system.
Right.
You wake up in the morning, the prices change. You wake up in the morning, they don't like you. Now, of course, the media won't report that and they won't give that a platform because they could already be doing it now and you wouldn't know because the media, if one man goes, the government took all my money, they would say he was crazy. You know?
Yep.
But I think this is substantial. It literally makes it so that there's like they can control you. Like they already control us, but this is just it's totally different. Way different.
Now. Do you see what's on the screen?
Yeah, I remember that picture.
Okay. This is the path that the eclipse took in 2017, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now understand, and me and many people researched it. In the last solar eclipse prior to this, they said the next eclipse would not be for 70 years.
Right.
This eclipse came out of nowhere, okay?
Right.
Now, you understand, they understand the path of everything. They know when an eclipse is going to occur, okay?
Right.
So look, and this is the path of totality across the entire United States. Very unique. And it went in a reverse direction of the sun and the moon.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Which is impossible, yet that's what happened. Okay.
Right.
Okay. This happened in 2017.
I remember.
Okay. It was unscheduled. Nobody knew about it until months before, which is impossible. Okay. This is the path of the eclipse that's going to come in 2024.
So what's the point?
Those two paths make an X over the United States.
Right.
2024 is it for us.
I mean, that's basically I can see that because I've heard the media even recently.
Look, here it is. Here it is. Somebody else has already done it.
No, listen. So like
no,
listen. So you know how the Supreme Court justice died, right? And it's just I'm not saying this has any relevance, but she did make the comment that I wanted to make sure I lived until he was out of office till 2024. So she was all worried about 2024. Trump's going to get reelected till 2024. Everything's going at 2024. The Federal Reserve said that they want the system implemented by 2024.
Right.
Fully. So it's just interesting.
I want you to talk about all of that, and then I want to show this because here's the reason why. Because Scripture says that the sun, the moon, and the stars are for signs.
Right.
This is a sign, bud.
Or it could be that the Mississippi River splits in two right there, and
this is the path. This is literally what those two solar eclipse events. And by the way, they're within 7 years. That's a very important number. Okay.
No, I don't know. I'm totally with you, dude. Everybody's even if you go on to the what's it called? United Nations Agenda 21. They even put in there that 2024 is a substantial year. They said it says 2020 and 2024, or was it 2025? 2024 or 2025. One of those years was very substantial in their documentation.
Okay. But you got to understand, listen, not only this is an X marks the spot, but this is actually a Tav. Okay. Right. A Tav is the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Okay?
Oh, yeah. It's like X.
It's the mark. Okay. It's literally, it's a mark. You know, they used to say, write your name or put your mark, and people would just.
Or they'd say X marks the spot, blah, blah, blah.
That's right. Okay. And so this is interesting. 20 miles on each side of the center line. Very, very interesting where it's going to cross. Huh. So 2024 is going to be a interesting year nonetheless. Okay. So I just wanted to point that out. I want to bring it up tomorrow. Okay.
No, but look, people need to like wake up now and like, literally go and understand that everything that we're used to, the idea of the monetary system we've been used to before my lifetime, it's done. and it died in '08. This woman even said it died in '08. It's been propped up since '08. They've just been getting ready for this. And they were waiting for an event where they could use it to push us in that direction, and we're in it.
Right.
It died in '08. In '08, the old ways died in '08. And then this has just been propped up until today. And I mean, literally, dude, it's amazing that people are going to let this happen. Digital currency, waiting in line. Will the Fed please send me some more?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And all we have to do is say no. All we have to do right now as people is just go, no, that's dumb. We don't like that idea. And just not do it. It doesn't matter if they tank all the greenbacks. If you still accept them, you accept them. It still holds value if you believe it. The problem is people are going to believe what they tell them, and they're going to go, oh, it has no value, so I need the transfer. And once more people do that, it screws people like you and me to force us into the same pot.
Yeah, well, that's what the whole mask thing has done. It's forced me to have to.
Yes. Well, I went to the dairy farm today, and I don't ever wear a mask when I go there, and they know that, and they don't. There was a new girl working there with the guys, so I walked in. They both had their mask on. She walks out to her van. She walks out, and she goes, do you care if I have a mask on or not? And I said, obviously not, because I ain't wearing one. And she goes, okay. And then she took it off. And I was like, same thing what they're going to do with the monetary system. If the people say no, it will not go that way right now. It will one day, but it won't go there right now.
Right.
If everybody goes, okay, man, I need it. How do I get one of these accounts? Let me go get one. Go do all the paperwork.
You know, son, you know that what they're doing is they're making it so that no one thinks to say
no. You gotta say no. Look, I gotta tell everybody this. Back when, if you look at American history, when they wanted to create a central bank in 1913, it took them until 1913 when they tried.
Okay. You know that they went behind the scenes to create the Federal Reserve, right?
Correct. It was signed in
secret. They did it in secret, and they got the freaking Congress to vote on it at a time when not everybody was in office.
But they're doing it right now. The FedNow accounts, it's in the Senate and House right now. They're just not talking about it. Same thing. But I told everybody, the people, though, they tried in the 1800s to do it, and the people said no. It took them until 1913 to finally do behind closed doors and get it. The plan will still come to fruition, but the people at least said no. It gave them a little bit more time, and then
with everybody wearing the masks and freaking out, I didn't play did I play the audio for you of the recorded conversations?
Not yet.
Okay, so if you heard it, it's absurd. What they're complaining to me about not wearing. Well, and she alluded to my job performance. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, you told me that.
Yes.
No, dude, I believe it. It's the same thing that you're going to be seeing with the whole money. It's like the girl I had here for Airbnb.
That's what I was going to ask next. Where's she at now?
Oh, she moved. She's on her next adventure. Okay. So I'm just here by myself. This weekend, there's going to be a guy. He's an older guy. He hunts in Easton, comes from Pennsylvania, stays in a room for 2 days. I get like $90 out of it, whatever. So it's cool. So, and then the cleaning lady, my housekeeper, came. She did a wonderful job, folded all of my clothes. I was like, you're the best. So, but anyways, so they're going to wind up, she said to me, she goes, yeah, this is bad. Everybody's losing their job. We need a stimulus. The government needs to give us the stimulus. She is adamantly waiting for this money that's never coming, but then the Fed is going to say, hey, and she's going to be one of the first people to sign up and go get it.
I know.
Because she doesn't understand what they're giving her is nothing.
Well, quite frankly, practically all of us will just take it.
Well, look, there's two ways to look at it. Obviously, if in the beginning they don't tell you have to take anything, right? Let's just say, all right, Mr. Beverly, here's your debit card, here's your checks, here's your online banking number, just like now. And they say, well, when you convert, Mr. Beverly, your $1,000 is now worth $5,000. Congratulations. And in theory, you would say, okay, well, Dave, it's not the mark. But what I try to explain to people is once you do that, though, there's no going back. They're not going to let you go back to the old way.
Right.
Now, at some point, if we got forced onto it, if they're not forcing you to take anything yet, and you don't have to take a vaccine to use it, I guess maybe you should just go with the flow until it's you can't.
Right. But all of these components are getting put in place.
Oh, it's the system, man.
Yes.
The whole world. No, it's not
the whole
system. It's not just this nation. I literally was looking at other things across the ocean, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
They're all doing it. All the central banks around the world, meeting of the minds, and all the central banks are saying, hey, which is the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, they're really the ones backing it, the World Monetary Fund, and they're saying, in the beginning, it's going to be a U.S. digital dollar, a digital euro, and they're still going to have the names. And then after so long, they'll just change the algorithm and put some code in, and they'll call it the world currency, and they'll change it in an instant.
Right.
In an instant, it's no longer dollars. It is now whatever you call it.
Whatever it's called. Yeah, the Phoenix.
And now it's accepted around the world.
They'll call it the Phoenix or something like that. Yeah.
Because in the beginning, they said the digital money is still going to have different values based on nations. It's still going to look the same.
Right.
Your digital dollar might be worth more in Mexico than the Mexico's digital peso. So they're going to make it look that way in the beginning. So there's no cause for an alarm.
I knew I had it somewhere. I remember new dollar Phoenix.
I've read that before. That was back in like 2005.
It was, yeah.
I remember that.
Here's one right here. Look. There's the
Yeah, I've seen that.
See that?
Yep.
The Phoenix dollar. Right?
Yeah.
So that's imprinted on silver. That's very interesting. Look, here's silverbacks. It's got the 100 Phoenix dollars, right?
Well, like I told everybody, what a lot of people believe that they're going to make us believe the new money is backed by gold and silver, so you'll be more enticed to go to the digital. But they still don't understand you're still not touching the money. That means it doesn't exist and you don't own it. The Fed owns you fully. You don't even need the IRS anymore.
You saw that, right?
Oh, I've seen that before.
Yeah, get ready for the world currency. That's old. Yeah.
No, I remember that.
That's January 1988, dude.
Yeah. I've seen that before.
Yeah. Yep.
And here we are.
Here we are. So they've been telling us all along is my point.
Correct. I didn't think it was going to be such a smooth transition. They're going to have it smooth, man. It's going to be like, whoop, gotcha. I thought
as much as they want anarchy, they want chaos and anarchy. Satan wants souls, so he doesn't get souls if they haven't committed to the mark and to take the number of his name.
Correct.
You understand? So if you die in a riot, fighting over this monetary change or whatever the issue is, he may not get your soul. He may not destroy you utterly. You know what I mean? And
they're going to keep it, like I said, I'm finally convinced that, yes, there's going to be riots. Yes, there's going to be wars and there'll be famines and stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of bad things going on, but there's still going to be a sense of regular life. That's why the Bible says people will still marry. Everything is still going to seem kind of the same, but it won't be. And you'll take it because you won't realize it because they tricked us this whole time. They've been doing it every single change. When you went from the gold standard to the debt standard, nobody really noticed it. And you're not going to notice it in the digital standard either.
Freaking crazy. And
that's how they trick. Think about it. Since I've been alive, how almost everybody just used credit cards. Here's an example where I went to the post office, and like I told you, the post office, I went in there and bought a thing of stamps for $5.50. I pulled out a 20. I handed the woman the $20 bill, cash, and she said, insufficient funds. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, my cash register is telling me I have insufficient funds to give you change for the 20. And she goes, do you have a form of electronic payment? And I looked at her and I was like, what if I don't? And
you have what?
She goes, I can't give you change for the 20 because I don't have enough change in my drawer. According to my computer, I have insufficient funds. She told me insufficient funds for the 20. And she goes, do you have a form of electronic payment?
Right.
And of course, I said, well, I have my debit card. And she goes, well, can you use that? So basically, if I wanted the stamps, I couldn't use my $20 bill because she wasn't going to go. I don't know if they didn't have any more cash or she just wasn't going to go get it, but they wouldn't let me use my 20.
Right.
That's now at the post office.
Right. Yeah.
$20 bill. You don't have enough money.
When I had a guy telling me just a few days ago, he's a great guy, but he just told me, well, I don't have any problems, with money, with any change or anything like that. And I'm like, listen, man, they're not going to be able to. I said, have you noticed that they got signs saying they don't have enough coin? And he said, well, I haven't had a problem with that. And they'll always have cash. That's the law. I said, brother, you do know that the Bible says otherwise, right? And he goes,
because the majority of Americans and people around the world, they just want the money to show up. It's going to be universal income, but they won't call it that. It's universal income. 100%. Your family will never be able to be successful or accumulate wealth. They'll control you. If you want to travel and see the world, they'll let you until you piss them off, and then they'll just cut you out of the game. They'll take your buying power away. So like if you are somebody even made an example, the woman said, so imagine if you're somebody like me that worked for a county government, or you're a public servant, or you're a politician. They might say to me, well, Mr. Beverly, we'll give you 1% positive. We'll give you a positive interest rate on your money. But the guy that works, over at Food Line, he get -5. They'll be able to do that. They'll be able to say, well, you are a outstanding member of society. So that's
like a social status, number, right?
Your money will be worth more as this person over here has more buying power with the same $2,000 than the other person, same man, same age, same guy, that same life. He has $2,000, but his social status is not the same.
Right.
So then everybody can have equal cash, but your cash is not worth the same like it is now. 20 to 40, right? So the 20 that you have is the 20 that I have is the same. We both have the ability to become successful. Well, in the past, we both had the ability to work hard and accumulate wealth. And some people would. Some of them became some of the richest people in the country today.
Right.
And then it won't be how it works. They pick and choose who becomes the richest person in the country.
Regardless of your effort or your money.
Regardless of what you do right, what you do wrong, doesn't matter. They pick you, you sold to them, I guess, you get the wealth. If you don't, There's no way for the ability, like even here, something as simple that I have now will not be attainable. It would be impossible for anybody that doesn't have it after the change to get it. And if you do happen to get it, it still won't be the same because they'll be able to basically devalue your money daily, and you won't ever even be able to pay your house off. So you won't even be able to pay off your debt, because they were saying the problem with the debt-based system is when you pay your mortgage off, you actually made money disappear. They don't want you to pay off your mortgage, and they don't want you to pay off anything.
Yeah, I had a thought about this the other day. It dropped into my spirit. You know how I got all these computers out of the garbage from my work, right?
Right.
And they're actually nice machines, right?
Right.
Really nice machines. And it just I don't understand, why wouldn't we give them away? Why would they choose to spend more money and not throw these things away, right?
The only way you create money is the debt.
Yes, because you're actually hurting the state economy by leveraging what you've already spent, by reusing it. It actually hurts them. They've got to throw it away, so they have to replace it. So they spend more money.
Right. And what you're seeing now with this economic recession, you can say it was by accident. You can say it was caused, whatever people want to believe. The reality, though, is since people aren't getting loans and people aren't getting paid with debt and then spending debt in a circle, it's not working. So the only other option they have is the universal income. It's the only option because they made it that way. So now,
purposely, yes, it didn't happen. It didn't happen organically, dude.
Right. So now look at it like this. The banks are getting money from the Fed, but the banks have made it more restricting lending requirements. Like if I went to the bank now, it's more strict than it was 5 months ago. I've experienced it.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you're credit worthy or not. It's more strict. So that's pissing them off. They want them to lend the money, but they're not lending the money. So cut them out. But they need them to lend the money. They need the debt to keep doing this.
Yeah.
That's why they wanted everybody to refi. I mean, I did it. They manipulated us, but it also made sense, right? Because of the way they made the system. Everybody refi, and that made more money.
Right. Yeah, because it generated that engine. It drove it. Right.
Correct. Now, once that engine is done and nobody else can refi and nobody else has a job, and
well, dude, you understand that our debt monetary system is a giant, gargantuan pyramid scheme.
No, I know. So what they were saying was
it's a giant pyramid scheme, and that constantly grows, but it doesn't ever pay down. The debt increases.
Yes. Well, yeah, it was like they were saying. So under the new mortgage requirements, once this new system's implemented, again, remember, like I said, if you pay off your mortgage, the money goes away. You pay off your credit card, that money now goes out of the economy, and then the economy drops.
That driving force goes out of the system.
Correct.
So no more money is exchanging through the financing of my mortgage.
Right.
If it's paid off, it's now a static asset.
Right.
It doesn't do anything.
Right. So what they're going to do is like I said earlier, they're going to make it so cool. You bought a house with the new digital dollar. It's great. It's going to seem like it did before, but they're going to make it so it's impossible for you to ever pay it off. Like I said, because they'll devalue their money through your life. So then at the end of your life, yeah, maybe you paid off your house to $50,000, but now that same payment doesn't count as the same amount of that. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you have $1,200 and you pay them, but then they make it negative 20%.
Right.
$1,200 isn't going to pay off as much as your mortgage.
It might pay like $1 on the
right. So they're going to fix, right. They're going to manipulate and fix their problem and control. They're going to say, hey, you know what? We'll never have this problem again. It's kind of like after the Great Depression.
So everything is going to be dynamic in their favor, and they're constantly going to make it dynamic in their favor.
Right.
Right.
Right. 100%.
So like right now, my mortgage payment, I'll say it's $1,350. It's like less, but so right now though, it's ridiculous. Out of that $1,350, about $800 or $900 of it goes towards interest and other things. Hardly anything is paid on the principal.
Right.
But what you're saying is they'll actually shift it around all the time, that however the wind blows, whatever they decide, it might only be $1 on the principal. It might be
more one day, it might be less next time you pay. But the reality, because they can manipulate the money's value.
Right. Whatever they needed to do to move things for them.
Right. You'll still own your home. You'll still have mortgages. Like I said, everything's going to seem the same. It's not the end of the world, but people don't understand that it's taking the last ability for you to have your own.
To ever get ahead, to actually accrue any personal wealth.
Right. Because as soon as you don't pay, the sheriff will come and evict you, and they'll reach out to the next guy like they've always done.
Right.
Same concept. And I was like, it's actually genius, and everybody's going to line up and do it. Because you remember, when you read the history after the Great Depression, their answer to their new financial decisions was, we're here to make sure this never happens again.
Yes.
They're going to say the same thing.
That's why the Federal Reserve, we will control the interest rates and the valuation of all money so that this never happens again. Right?
And now this time they're going to say the same thing. We will control everything and send you money direct. So you know how the government, they didn't send you your stimulus package. You know how the president, he sucks, and he didn't send you your stimulus package money. Screw them. We'll make sure you get it because we are here to help.
We're going to pay you directly, personally, right from us.
That's what they're saying. It says it right on the thing.
The 1% are going to give all the poor people their monthly stipend.
Correct.
Yes.
And they're going to say, we're going to make sure that economic depression, which we're going into now, and we're going to go through it for a few years, never happens again. And everybody's going to go, thank you, this makes sense. And we'll have an economic boom. And then they'll say, oh, but by the way, this boom, the boom will only continue if you take this, whatever the, situation will be.
Right.
And if not, well, then you can't enjoy the boom. You get to be poor.
Yeah.
It's here. I can't believe it when I saw the site.
Yeah. Well, dude, we've been saying it was, remember, you and I would contemplate this, and I'd say, dude, I say we have 10 years tops. And you're like, no, I think it's going to be 20 or 30 years. And it's like, nope, it's next year.
Right. I'm like, God dang, dude, this is fast. And again, like I said, God's plan is going to come to fruition no matter what.
Yeah.
But the people could buy more time if they say no, but they won't.
Right.
You could push it another 5 years, 6 years, and like I said, it's still going to happen. So now everybody's going to be like, oh, Dave, but then why just let it happen? But then it gives you more time.
Yep. Well, the other trick is of the enemy, and these people, although they might be human beings, they follow the plans of the devil. The trick is that they're going to think it's more of the same. It's more of what we've always done.
And it is. Well, it feels like it. It will feel like it.
It'll feel like it. And that's why, like I got on that one associate pastor's case about, dude, the dollar's being tanked and you're teaching people to save dollars and set them aside. The dollar, if you save it, is devaluing while you're sitting there.
People are going to be left with nothing, and then they're going to go directly and say to the Fed, "I'm taking it."
He didn't understand that when I told him, if I took $1,000 and put it in an envelope, even put it anywhere in a bank in an envelope, while it's sitting, it's devaluing. It's devaluing. So let's say I waited 5 years to spend that $1,000. Now I only have $500 worth of buying power. And
right. And you know what? Another thing I just thought of: your taxes, of course, are the interest the federal government pays the Federal Reserve for the money that they lend.
Yes.
If we're negative, there's going to be a time where they say, remember how the president was like, there'll be no more income tax?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, can't do that. Can't have no federal income tax. We actually can if there is no freaking interest. And they're paying you direct.
Right.
So people are going to be like, yeah, no more federal income tax.
Well, but listen, this is what people don't seem to get. When we get a job and we pay taxes on the interest on the loan that comes from the Federal Reserve to our government.
Right.
Where do you get the money at to pay the interest back on the loan? Where does the money come from?
The Fed.
Another loan.
Yes. Yeah,
you're paying the loan with a loan. This is what people don't seem to get. I'm paying. I work a job and they pay me money. Where does that money come from?
Right. Well, I tell people, but that's even how the individual, like you and me, that's what I've done. Everything that I have has just been paid with different loans.
Yes, I know.
I'm not saying I like it, but you have to understand it, right? I mean,
everything I have is all loans. Everything, all the material stuff inside my house, there's nothing owed on it. It's all paid for.
You bought it with
it ain't gonna do me very good though if it's all sitting out on the street, you know.
But like you just said, the money that you used cash to buy that is still a loan.
It was still a loan. I'm passing the debt bill down the road. I'm passing it down the road.
But that's why when I found out that Navy Federal had that account where you put your money in savings and then they let you loan money on your own savings at 2%. I'm like, it's the same thing that they do.
Yeah.
It's just a smaller scale.
Right.
But they give you $2,000 on $2,000 at 2%. You don't pay it back. We keep the cash.
Right.
That's basically what banks do with your money to everybody else.
Yes. Yep. Well, that's what, again, a credit union is the people have put that together. So it's not.
But they're about to take those over too, because when you read the Federal Reserve thing, they're also going to convince all the credit unions to hop on board with this. Everybody at some point is hopping on board with this.
So, all right. So this is that guy's,
that guy is the guy. It's his job to implement. He'll explain it.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So that's the video.
Here it is, FedNow. Come on, we got it now.
The world today looks very different than it did a decade ago. Smartphones and high-speed internet access have changed how quickly we expect to pay for the things we need. There are already services that let people make payments that seem instant, but many of these services provide funds to the user before the funds settle between banks. This lag in final settlement creates a buildup of interbank obligations. What's needed is a payment system with the real-time nature of instant payments, one that can scale as demand for these new payments grows.
Today, businesses and consumers want to send and receive money in seconds, also known as instant payments. The payments industry is working quickly to meet this demand, But the solutions aren't without growing pains. So the time for modernizing our nation's payment system is now.
That's why the Federal Reserve's work is progressing rapidly for the FedNow service, a new infrastructure for instant payments. The FedNow service is designed to exist alongside private sector options, fulfilling the Federal Reserve's historical role of promoting market competition and providing nationwide reach for payment services. The FedNow service will allow any financial institution in the U.S., regardless of size, to offer instant payments to its customers.
With the FedNow service, funds will settle between financial institutions instantaneously. End users will be able to access their funds in real time, no matter the time or the day.
This new instant payments platform will increase efficiency, improve accessibility, reduce risk, foster competition, and support resiliency. It will also position financial institutions and the customers they serve, consumers and businesses, to better manage their funds. Those who live paycheck to paycheck could face fewer overdrafts and late fees. Businesses could more easily manage their cash flow. Public service organizations could deliver instant relief in times of crisis. And financial institutions of all sizes could remain competitive by providing access to instant payment services.
Thinking about all the ways the FedNow service could be used to help people and businesses is really exciting. It also demonstrates the Federal Reserve's commitment to providing solutions that benefit everyone in the financial system and the broader economy.
In just a few short years, the FedNow service will help support the next generation of payments. To learn more about the FedNow service, visit fednow.org.
All right. Let me turn me back. So how do you I love the wording is you won't have overdraft fees because everything's paid instantly, and they got this music. Everything is going to be so perfect for you.
Like how they use the mind control of showing only electronic payments.
Yeah. Also, they're telling you without telling you. Also, right. I like how they say, and it'll foster competition. How exactly is it gonna?
Well, a lot of people don't remember. Do you remember when they first passed the stimulus package? It came out on mainstream media that there was a digital dollar in the package, and they removed it because everybody flipped out.
Yeah.
And the first stimulus package, everybody was like, "Whoa!" And then they removed it past the stimulus package, and then behind the scenes, still created this system.
But you got to understand, they do that to play everybody's mind so that you don't see this as that digital dollar.
Correct. We believe we have control still. We said no.
Yes, they pulled it out. See, the people made them pull it out. See, they can't do that to us, and they won't see this as that.
They won't, and they're not selling it as that. They're selling it as a new service that's provided to help. But you like how they said, in times of crisis, relief funds will come immediately.
Yeah, let's begin, dude. Okay, so you're going to come on tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I come on tomorrow.
Okay, because we're going to talk about all of this. Okay. Hey, listen. In this test, I recorded this. I might post this as a preview of tomorrow.
Or take point certain sections out of it.
No. This conversation was great. You didn't say anything disparaging or anything.
I just want people just to know what they're doing because I was telling the guy here fixing my heater this morning. He couldn't believe it. And then when I told him, he's like, "Oh, I never thought of it that way." I'm like, dude, this is now. Our lives are going to be forever changed, and we just got to at least know it, just know where we're at. You can't stop it. Well, you can, but there's not enough people to say no. There never is.
Right. Because there's not enough people awake.
Yeah, and when they wake up, they'll wake up when we're fully manipulated. They'll wake up when they go to the bank and they see the new system and how manipulated it can be.
Yeah, what happens is everybody's even waking up to other things going on, but it's like 10 years behind, 5 to 10 years behind. When I see people now waking up and they're going, "Oh my God, this is really what's happening." And I'm like, I have to, not just me, but all of us have to be gracious and go, "Hey, we were talking about this 10 years ago."
Right. Yeah. And what they say is, well, like basically your enemy is always a little bit ahead of you, and that's basically what's happening.
Yeah, but For example, I've got a piece by Rob. I watched it today, a short piece by Rob Skiba. Do you know who that is? And look what he says, dude, just before you go, look what he says. And this is another 2-minute piece. Okay.
I'm asking you to
And
make a
hang on.
donation right now
I'm
to have
gonna-
your gift triple match.
As soon as this
and help
commercial
us.
goes over.
Oh,
Okay.
Doctor.
All right. So check this out. This is awesome. Transition. And I'm going to go full screen on this. You're going to
Thomas
love
Horn
this.
and others speculate on this, how something like this might happen with regard to a pandemic. Again, in true Hegelian style, Hegelian dialectic is where you cause a problem which causes a reaction that you just so happen to have the solution for already ready to go, right? So, okay, just imagine this. Whoever they are, they're responsible for everything, right? Release a really bad flu pandemic of some sort. Well, imagine this. If you don't get the shot that they've got all ready to go.
How old is this video? Huh? I can't hear you. No noise.
7 years ago, 2013.
Oh, man, this guy was on the money.
Yeah, Rob Skiba, he's awesome. So listen to what he says. Watch.
For you, no shot or cure means, well, you don't have a job. Somebody mentioned last night their job requires them to take the flu shot. And if they don't get the flu shot, they lose their job. So we're already seeing kind of a microcosm of that happening right now. A test. Got to take the shot. Or you can't be a teacher in school, or you can't work at CVS or whatever. You got to take the shot. So they're already making it mandatory for some people. So we've got a little miniature test going on with that. If you don't take it, there's no cure, no job. You end up being quarantined. Oh, you don't want to take the shot? You don't want to take what really I believe is going to be the mark of the beast? Well, fine, you're going to have to be quarantined. Bring you over here. Well, that means you're not going to have any money, which means you won't be able to buy or sell. That seems to be a good explanation to me to explain why they can't buy or sell, but also explain why they beg for death, but death flees from them because they can't die, right? So that's if you don't take the shot, you end up with no job, quarantine, no food, or no food, no buying or selling. But if you do take the shot, well, you have some interesting side effects. It's like those commercials, where you always see the drug that they're offering. The side effects may include drowsiness, blah, blah, blah. Take the shot. Side effects may include counterfeit immortality, not redeemable, and cast alive into the lake of fire. Ask your doctor if it's right for you.
Yep, that's the truth of it, right?
Is that dude still alive or not?
Oh yeah, Rob Skiba, he's rocking, man. He the only thing with Rob is he now has decided that we have to be Torah followers, and he got mixed up in that, and well, a lot of people dropped following him when he first started talking about flat Earth, and now flat Earth in the whole community is widely accepted.
Was he a preacher?
No, he's just he's got a lot of books out. Rob Skiba, you've never heard of Rob? I've given you a lot of his material.
I don't think I've seen his video. That's why.
Rob and he actually asked me if I wanted to come on the show one time, and I was like real excited because I've listened to Rob for years. And then I gave him some of my material, and I think when he saw that I was showing that the scriptures were changing, he didn't want to talk to me. Yeah, and
well, he's on the money. Either way, look, not everybody's going to see perfectly eye. That's fine. They didn't even back in biblical times. They'd all sit there and argue all day. So the reality is he was that's on the money about what we're living in today.
Yeah.
And what we're experiencing in work. And you're going to basically have to stand up against your job while you still can to keep it.
Yep.
See, the sad part is all those people that believe that they have to take vaccines to work where they work now, they actually really don't. They just didn't say now.
Right.
During this whole time. I'm not saying in the future it won't be that way, but for the last 50 years, you didn't have to take that vaccine.
I know because I know of nurses who do the same thing.
I work with people that do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it comes down to people not understanding. It's the same thing with the mask. Look, I went to CVS earlier today, and I was the only customer in the store with no mask on. Okay. And there was a man about my age who walked up. Of course, they got the freaking red tape line, 6 feet distance and all that crap. They got plastic, what do you call it? Shields up, right?
Yep.
And I always look around and wait for somebody to say something like, why are you not wearing a mask? And I want to ask them, well, why are you wearing a mask?
To protect everybody. It happened to me recently. I was standing outside waiting in line to go into Habitat for Humanity, which is a store where people donate stuff for building materials. You get it cheap.
Yeah.
So I was waiting out of line because outside they didn't open until 12. So I got there early. I didn't know. I was the only person in line outside not wearing a mask outside. Only one out of about 15 people.
Idiotic, isn't it?
They were talking to me. I was talking to them, like, how's your day? And
when you talk to them, did you go, hey, how you doing today? It's great to see you.
no, but I could feel they want to say something to me, but I guess they think I'm just like a young punk guy, so they don't. They want to bad. They want to so bad.
Yeah. Well, but it would be great because you can always pull the I'm a medical professional, and I assure you that you're wasting your time wearing that mask.
Yeah.
You know?
100%, especially even if this was a legitimate thing, even if it was all true, which is not, but if it was, wearing outside actually would make sense if it was real.
Right. Yeah. You know that sunlight kills microbes, okay?
Sunlight is great. It cleans everything.
Yes. So look, but I'm going to split, and I guess you got to go work out still?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the gym, and then I might go down by the water again. I get bored sitting here in that Suicide Bridge restaurant. I told the owner I really appreciate his decision on his business model, how basically if you don't want to wear a mask and that makes you uncomfortable when our people don't, they need somewhere else.
Suicide Bridge?
Yeah, it's a nice place on the water, you know. You just
Suicide Bridge. Why is it called Suicide Bridge?
That's the name of the bridge that runs next to it. I think somebody jumped off it back in the day.
So they named it that Bridge Restaurant, and that's in Hurlock. There you go.
Yeah, right here.
I'm looking at their website, man.
They got big ferry boats. Basically, you go down to the tiki bar, you sit in a chair by the water still, and they got little fire pits. I was eating s'mores last night. It's great.
So there, you could tell them that you had a discussion with your father on his YouTube channel. He's got thousands of subscribers, and we just plugged their restaurant, Suicide Bridge.
There you go. You can still go enjoy a nice dinner and not be hassled.
That's looks like an awesome setting, man.
It is very nice. You know?
Is that where you take dates?
Yes, because it's the only place that doesn't make me wear a mask, man. I told him, I said, I shop at places that still give you the ability to make your own decisions.
Yep.
And he's like, wonderful. So his place, there's a couple other local restaurants, a couple hardware stores. The mom and pop, of course.
Ooh, look at them crab cakes, man.
Yeah, next time you come, we'll go there.
Now, Amy will freaking love that.
But yeah, they take you on the boat, man, for dates.
Yeah, that's cool. I took her on a lake cruise here not too long ago. Cool. All right, bud.
I do.
Hey, listen, I want to pray with you before we go.
All right.
All right, so let me change this thing back. All right, Father, I thank you for my son. I thank you for all of my sons and my daughters. I pray that you give them all wisdom, that you keep a hedge of protection around them. Give them peace through these crazy times. Father, give us wisdom and just breathe your Holy Spirit upon us all. And also David's mother and Gilbert, I lift them up in prayer right now, Father, that you would do the same thing as well, that you would keep them from this hour of trial that's coming upon the world. And we give you glory, honor, and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Right on, buddy.
Before you go, did you see those riots they had all over the country last night? That was great.
No, I didn't.
They came out in Louisville, Kentucky.
I don't watch the news.
Well, they came out in Louisville, Kentucky, and they didn't indict the officers for Breonna Taylor's shooting. They only indicted one, and it wasn't for murder. And they lost their minds, dude. They're so it just ignited the fire some more. Good, bad, or indifferent. There was riots everywhere. Don't live in the cities. It's just going to get worse after November.
Yeah. Well, don't let that same spirit of frustration and anger rise up in your own heart. That's the trick.
No, man, no. Those people are just confused. I'm like, if they would listen, they would just punch you in the face because they're too emotional. But I really just want to tell them, look, man, I'm not saying I don't agree with you, but what you're doing right now is going to hurt you.
I'm going to send you a link. They're called Sons of Korah. It's a band that makes songs that are literally just the Psalms.
Oh,
Psalm
that's cool.
51. It's really cool, dude. And one of my subscribers sent me an email and turned me on to one of their tunes.
Yeah.
Psalm 51. And it's just literally the scriptures. It's just God's word. It's just the scriptures. It's awesome. And the music's cool. And I highly recommend you listen to it. It'll bless you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, bud.
All right, dude.
I'm going to see you tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right, man. Be careful out there. Oh, be safe.
We don't wear masks there either.
All right, man. See ya. Okay, he could probably hear me. I'm just going to close this out since I told him I was going to post it. So y'all, that was a 55-minute taste of what we're going to probably talk about tomorrow on Airborne Saints channel. So come back tomorrow and you can make your comments. Of course, this whole Federal Reserve website that David turned me on to right there. And we'll definitely be talking about that. And we'll be talking about the fact that X is going to mark the spot, right? And coming up 2024, right? So we'll see y'all tomorrow morning, and God bless y'all. We'll see you.